Hi, I would like to record a video on how to get prepared for the SAT exam. SAT exam is usually taken by high school graduates in the USA to get accepted into university later on. But it's also taken by international students all around the world to get accepted to study in Canada, USA, and England. European colleges also accept SAT sometimes, but it's usually the subject test that they accept. The SAT has 4 parts: reading, vocabulary, maths, which contains of 2 parts, with a calculator and without a calculator. This doesn't mean that one is harder than the other. There are just different types of tasks in which you need to count and in which it's just needed to know the formula and then get it to a calculator, and that's it. The 4th part is not mandatory. Unlike the first 3 ones, it's an essay, and some universities require you to take the essay, but usually not. You can take the essay part because you want to differentiate you from the pool of applicants, because the admissions committee have access not only at the points you receive for that essay, like whether it's correct in different ways, but also they have the actual essay, and they will read it, and if they see any like good points, general ideas, how motivated and interested you are while writing it, you may be better qualified at the admissions pool. The first step in preparing to the SAT is you need to understand what score you need to get. It's really hard to get like 100%, even like 90 or 80%. It's a really hard task, especially for international students. If you want to get to the Ivy Leagues, you need to have 1,560 plus out of 1,600. So basically you have like 1 or 2 mistakes, which is really hard. If you want to get into some kind of like NYU school, you'll need to have 1,440 or something like that. And if you want to get into a good school, but when applying to Ivy Leagues, it's usually called like safety school, you'll need to have 1,200 or something, which is not that hard. Deciding on how to get prepared, you first need to measure the entrance scores that you have. So you just take the test, then you check it and see on what level you are now. So and see what level you want to get to, and see how much time you have for that, like a year, 3 months, 1 month, 1 day sometimes, and measure your responsibilities in preparing for that accordingly to the time you have or the time you'll need to like spare for it. The time management on the SAT exam is kind of a key, because there are a lot of tasks, and if you aim to get like 80% of the answers right, you don't need to focus on each one. You'll need to focus on the ones that you think you are sure about the answers are, what the answers are, and the ones that are too hard, you just don't pay that much attention to that, because if you don't manage your time in the right way, you'll just lose it, and then feel stressed, and then other sections will go all wrong, and you don't want to do that, clearly. So after you have taken the test and measured your first score, you just do some tests without measuring the time. Maybe take it for like 5 hours, 4 hours, whatever you want. Just have the highest score possible for that reason, and just see the dynamics of it, see how time influences you, see in which sections you are worse, and just make some predictions for the future just for you. After you checked your answers, the most important part of getting ready for the SAT is making sure you understand everything that you made wrong. If you didn't understand it, go for forums, go to Quora, go to the comments section of the Khan Academy on YouTube, whatever you want. Just get a tutor, why not? Because if you just go on making the same mistakes, there will be no use in your preparation. And if you understand everything, you'll just go up and up in your level. The second tip about making mistakes is if you did something right, but you don't think that you have done it on purpose, it was kind of a guess, just mark it as the wrong one and get ready for it once more, because you might not guess the right answer the next time. How could you? To check your progress, you can make a Google Sheet or an Excel sheet, and use each column for each section. Fill it in with the results you get, and it will be a good way to have those dynamics of how you do, the better or worse. Sometimes, why not? Maybe some tests were hard and the others were really easy. Sometimes it happens. What about free resources for getting ready for it? There are a lot. So if you Google practice tests for the SAT, you'll have tons of PDFs. Then Khan Academy is the most popular nonprofit for getting ready for tests. It has practice modes as well as testing modes. If you feel like you're amazingly good at maths, so you never make mistakes, you should go to reading and vocabulary and just try until you are perfect with it. Then Prep Scholar. It has a lot of advice and a lot of textbooks. There are 10 official practice tests. It's kind of a lot because one is actually very time consuming. If you want to get the exams of previous years, it's cracksat.net. You can print them out and write down the answers as well. One more advice that I would have given from my experience, my personal experience, is if you don't aim to get 100% on the tasks that are really, really hard, go for just one letter which you prefer, because the statistics shows that if you don't guess every time and just go for all maybe D's or all the C's in the answers that you clearly have no clue how to answer, you'll have a 30% chance that it will be right, or 25, but I've seen a study that shows that it's 30, so I'll say that. Just write down all the D's, all the C's, and do like that. What about the actual taking the exam? You'll have a small book which you'll need to write down your number, which is given to you in the testing center, and the whole process will be timed. You will be notified prior to the end of each section in about 30 minutes, 10 minutes or 5 minutes, and if you are left with a book open after the section is closed, you will be dismissed, because it's really important that you are honest with your answer and honest with your work. You mustn't at any point look at other people. For one reason, you don't have time if you are doing it right, and for the second reason, you'll be dismissed because it's kind of a cheating part. Don't get stressful. Get some rest before the exam. It's really important. Everybody says that. It's really important. You don't need to learn anything the night before, because neuropsychology shows that it will never get into your memory and it only will destroy your sleep that day. Get yourself snacks because you will not buy them anywhere there, and 4 hours is clearly a long time when your brain kind of works at your best. And get yourself a calculator. This one is really important. You'll need to check that this calculator is good for this test. It doesn't have access to the Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, nothing like that, because you cannot get it to yourself. It should plot graphics, if you understand like how to plot them. And it shouldn't be too like easy, only like multiplication, subtraction, division. There should be like tangent, cotangent, all those trigonometry functions and many more, because there is no use in a calculator that doesn't have those functions, because trigonometry will be on the part with the calculator. It should be pre-approved by the staff that is in charge of your test, and bring an extra pot of batteries, because you don't know like how long ago they were changed. So if they suddenly run out during the exam, you'll be in a really bad situation. You'll be kind of messed. Yeah, I think that's all that I wish I knew before taking the SAT. Know that you can always retake it, and usually universities, like the best ones, like the top 10 universities, take your best results, even sometimes best results for each section, and then have it as like the one test, which is kind of interesting way of interpreting your score. So don't feel obligated to do it right just one time. Start getting ready for it like 3 or 2 years prior to your sending the scores, because it's really time consuming to learn all those new words which you don't actually use in everyday life. And even if you speak English with your teacher, peers, or something like that, people don't usually talk that language, maybe like in law school or in medical school, but not in everyday life. Take the test several times, take the ACT, take the SAT, compare those results and see what works best. Yeah, so if you have any questions, you can always drop them down in the comment section. I will be really interested to answer them. Thank you.